Greetings. I am Mira Michelle, the founder and director of the Sacred Female Rising Institute and the Cleanse Site Project. We are here in our first open talking circle for the free 5-part series of the Great Awakening. So this one, a leaf just fell in my hand. That's got to be a good sign. Thank you, Mother Tree people speaking. Say, please include us in your conversation. We will indeed. Yes, the free 5-part series entitled The Great Awakening. Part 1 has aired. It's called the Intro Weave. Please check it out if you haven't already. What we are doing here is investigating what is the Great Awakening? Is there a Great Awakening? So for our guests who are already here with us on Zoom, can you please mute? Because we're getting some background noise. Okay, thank you. What is the Great Awakening? Is there a Great Awakening? We're going to dive into this vibration now as more guests come on. Okay. So we are here now in our bodies, in our living rooms or our bedrooms or our meeting rooms, in our village, in our town, in our city, on a continent somewhere on planet Earth. And this is all a part of the grand weave of consciousness. We are the weave, and the weave is us. And we are also weaving in that weave with our consciousness, with every thought, with every breath, with every spoken word and intention. We are weaving. We are creators. Whoa, how does that feel if we just embody that, those spoken words with resonance? Is that like, yeah, we are creators? That's what we are. Is that, oh my God, every thought, every breath? What? Get me out of here. Can the weave hear my thoughts? Of course, because it's nature pure. It's galactic, it's universal, this grand, massive weave of consciousness. And let us say we are weaving with light and we are weaving with dark, all of us. Because we are, as a species, as a multi-sensory civilization, humans, we are constantly doing the dance of light and dark. That is part of why we're here. Yes. So let me bring in gallery view perspective. Blessings, blessings, sisters, for your presence, for your deep caring of our humanity, of our planet, and our consciousness. So we are here investigating the Great Awakening. I'm so excited to jump in here with all of you. I'm excited, and behind this smile is light, and behind this smile also is a seriousness, is a focus, and is a female warrior rising up and standing up with great love and also fierceness, like a mother lion protecting her cubs, right? That's what we women have an incredible capacity for. So let us please raise one or the other of your hands. Those of you watching, thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you for your consciousness. And we're going to open the weave. So we just go inside and we feel outside. So that's why we have our hand up, because we're simultaneously both inside and outside. And we breathe. Opening our hearts and our power chakras. Or simply say open. Great weave of life. Great weave of existence. Great weave of consciousness, of light, and also of dark, those shadow aspects we're working on to liberate, to empower and expand. We invite you, our lighthead ancestors. We invite you, spirit guides. We invite you to whoever and whatever you pray to in the light. All religions, perceptions of growth and knowing, deep knowing. We invite we ask to be guided. We ask to deeply listen and feel. We ask to be connected, because we are all connected in this great web of life. We open this weave to see, to feel, and to know. Ahe, Ashe, blessed be. Blessings. Okay, so here we are, and we've opened up the weave, and we're opening up the subject of the Great Awakening. What is the Great Awakening? Or what is it to you? And is it something, actually? What is that thing people keep talking about? What is it for you personally? What would you like to speak to? So how we're going to do this is like popcorn style. We're going to just flow with it. And so I ask you to keep we have 1 hour. So I ask you to keep your feedback precise and in the heart, and allow the wisdom to come through you as the conduit. And also let us allow our feelings, our emotions to be where and what they are. Let's get real also. You know, we're not just trying to sit and play one tune on the violin, right? Violins have so many chords. Let's crack that violin open. Yes.
Hi.
Hi, darling.
Mira, thank you for holding this circle. I'm here with kids and I'm listening And I just want to share that before I was looking at the Great Awakening as it's all happening out there and totally wasn't celebrating that was happening in here. And so I've been really focusing on that it is knowing myself. And it sounds so simple, right? And that's been repeated through history and different spiritualities, but really to know myself simply. And that's something that I continue to come back to, and it feels welcoming and opening and doesn't feel like pressure to me at all. So for me, that is the great awakening. And I think it's amplified right now.
Yeah, sister, shout it out deep. Ooh, exactly. Yes, I'm right with you on that. I'm walking right beside you, sweet sister. Yes, it is definitely about our individual awakening, right? Who am I really? Past identifications, conditionings, etc. If I stand naked before the mountain, and that means I'm completely worth and of value without having to take a step. That's what we're moving towards, I feel. That is the huge step towards this great awakening of consciousness of our species.
I would like to share the Great Awakening. For me, I had never had an idea what this might look like. And it's interesting to realize that awakening means also realizing things that I don't like, becoming much more clear, but in a way that I would have never wanted to be clear about, if I'm honest. It's like, okay, really? Damn. Like sleep before was a bit more comfortable, much more easy. And at the same time, I feel for me, I'm continually asked to stand in my own authority, to look for my own truth, because there's no truth out there anymore. Like, there's lots of stuff out there, but there's no trusting anything that comes from outside, actually, because how can I know from the place I'm sitting on? So there's something really new that is continuous reminder to really look for my own truth and see what are my values, what can I align with, what can I not align with. And it becomes a very straightforward and very simple way of making those decisions, because it's not about, is this fact true or is that fact true and why doesn't it match? It's more about, what do I stand for and how can I realize what I stand for in this moment? And that's, wow, that's amazing. And it's quite a challenge, because my programming is very deep. I want to know, I want to understand, my mind wants to get it all, and I want to be the bright person who, understands. So to let that go and really go back to my root, to my ground, to all of that. That's what it looks like for me on a personal level. And there are many very painful processes involved as well. Realizing where I'm not true to myself, where I'm really afraid, where I can really see my fears much more clearly than before. So I think that all is part of coming closer to some kind of surface, and I hope the air is good when I come up. Sorry. Yeah, that's me. Hey.
Hey, sister. Wow, thank you so much. I love this question. What do I stand for? Let's all earmark that and put that in our thinking, feeling caps. What do I stand for? That is definitely one of the standout questions for this time. What do I really stand for? And if it doesn't have something to do with this, one earth and one people, you know, to start bringing in that level of consciousness, then we're in trouble. This is not a me story anymore. This is an us story.
True.
What do I stand for in my own authority? Wow. Someone write that down and we'll come up with a whole list before we who's our scribe? I'm scribing also. I have the famous clipboard. And I would love us to get to, let's earmark this too. I would love us to get to before we close. What does it mean when we don't find truth outside in our world? What does that mean for us? What can we do with that? Let's come back around. But first, I would love to hear from more of you wonderful humans.
Yeah, thank you all. Thank you for doing this, and thank you all for being here. And I feel so close to what you said before, you both, and Mira, you also. And for me, the thought came up that it's really important to have this, what do I stand for in the huge, in the bigger picture. Yeah, it's when I zoom out and I know that what is happening for a reason, and it's not about me in a way. It's not about my ego. It's not about me. And at the same time, it's exactly about it's exactly about me. How I feel in these simple little things. And every day I decide, do I feel, or how do I feel with it? And what kind of being does this feeling make me in a way? Like, do I judge or don't I judge? And am I open still? And it's a small talk to another woman, or it's the news that come in from whomever feels like he has to tell me something new about the world, or what, you know what I mean? It's really like a muscle needed to be trained every single day to be true to me, to speak my truth in the bigger picture and also in the very, 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 very small ones. This is, this is a really huge part for me in the great and small awakening, actually. Hey.
Hey. And if I could just speak to that just a click, and that is, I think it's also part of this great awakening of consciousness, is that, you know, the micro becomes the macro and the macro becomes the micro, right? And those seemingly insignificant, nuanced moments of awakening have a massive ripple effect throughout our humanity and throughout our planet. Because when we overcome something, when we walk through it and take it with us and ascend it, wow, everything in our environment, as Mother Spider is trying to crawl on my lap, she's got her web across my face. Thank you. Everything in our environment will shift with us and the people around us, right? So thank you for that, sister.
Barbara, I really liked your message saying it's like a muscle. You have to be trained. This is really great to speak your truth. And for me, the awakening is also, I'm really amazed the last few months how much power I own, and to go into my own rhythm, I would say, because sometimes the days are so long and so much stuff is happening. And at the end of the day, I'm in my bed and really impressed about myself. Oh, wow, how much power I had. And I still can go on. And normally, or I had such a long day, how it's possible. And I think sometimes we really not, we really don't know how much power we really have. So it's even a bit more than we expect. So, and just to trust, there are so many projects coming to me at the moment, and I'm never sure, oh, should I take more and more? but anyhow, it's like a proof to myself. Now just take it, just to show you how much is in ourselves. So trust, the power will never leave us. It will always, if we, like you say, train our muscle to be with our truth, and there will always be a power level we can trust and go into it. Yeah. Hey.
Hey, and ooh, ooh, ooh. That's it. Trust. Alexandra writes, trust. Yeah, trust is a big one.
Yeah. So I agree to you. For me, in the moment, it feels like expanding and stretching. So stretching the muscle, and also to weave all together, or to see the weave around me, to see my monsters, to see the darkness, but also to see the light in this darkness, because every single monster, what is showing up, if I really look into it, I see that she wants just to protect myself. And I can really say, stop, not like this, because if I get grumpy, it's my son who will get it from me. So I really can say stop to her, but it is like you say. So it's this putting the stuff together. Don't go like this, but I see you. But how you do it, to go into range, that's not the way. So stop this, but I see you. So what do you need? And then to calm down, to lie on the earth, to drink a cup of coffee with my little one together, or with my monsters, really to include my monsters and to start to love them, actually. Yes. So that's stretching and weaving.
Yes.
Hey.
Hey. I love that stretching and weaving together. We've got another bumper sticker. It's going along with Marian's "What do I stand for?" Stretching and weaving. Yes.
My sharing goes hand in hand with this, Sophia. First of all, thank you, Mira, for bringing this up and for getting us together, and for your great offering of this wonderful series. I'm very excited for it. My name is Undine, and I'm here with my wonderful medicine sister Tanya. And yeah, for me, the two sides that you just described, of also loving the dark sides but having both sides, really goes hand in hand with my approach to the Great Awakening. I see it as a big process of transformation, but a process of transformation that comes in seasons. So sometimes it's more in the outside world, sometimes it's more in the inside world. And it felt like in my process, the last 6 months have been so much in the inside, because many habits that I have had in the past years and years and years are now so clear that some of them just needed to be weeded out. Some are just wrong, because as the outside circumstances change, the more I realize, wow, I cannot go on like this anymore. That's not healthy for me, for nobody. So I need to change. And then you have this realization of, yes, I need to change. And it's like, okay, now I also have to learn to change. And it's like this, wow, it's really coming in seasons, and it's a great teaching. And having that deep trust that you also talked about, that helps tremendously in the processes of trusting that there will be a way out of the darkness. And we need sometimes the darkness, but sometimes we need to become darkness also to then emerge again and to truly shine our light from a different depth. And I feel like that's what the Great Awakening is teaching me at the moment, so much, to trust in that process as well. And yeah, to then always connect and to remember you're not alone, because you aren't. To remember that together we are the strongest, and we are rising here together.
Yeah. Hey. Woo, 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 woo. The seasons. I love that. Flowing with the seasons. That's a keeper. Thank you. Blessed be.
Blessing, thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, so I share also, and thank you all for having this beautiful space here to share what we feel about the Great Awakening. And this is my important share point. It's the feeling. We remember that we can feel and that we don't need to think so much. So we can go down deep inside of us. And for me, the Great Awakening is really like we really allow us to feel, to go deep, and then we connect more with everything, with the nature, with other elements and everything. So we really feel in a really deep way that we aren't separated. We aren't. And so more and more of us allow themselves to feel, and more go this way to feel. And it's not about you be spiritual or you are a yogi or whatever. Every human can do this. And so this is for me the Great Awakening, that we don't need some stuffs or steps. We just need to allow ourselves to feel and to be with this gift that we have inside. And then it's not the option to think of something, because we know it. It's still there. We know it. So this is it. Hey.
Hey, sister. Woo! Shout out for feeling, allowing our feelings to flow. It also needs that stretchability and that practice muscle we've been speaking about. But once we get in there and we know we're safe, then we can start expanding, right? So we just have to start. Thank you so much, sister.
Yeah, as everybody said, it's so good to be here. So new for me to be here. So that's really great. For me, it's really unlearning. It's so much unlearning. Like Marion said at the beginning, it's, you know, I mean, always asking question, always been, I think that's part of my soul somehow, but it's still all these questions coming up, and what is truth and what is actually not to be believed anymore. So unlearning is a big part of my awakening. Again, even deeper unlearning, and to experience what is my true power, to call in my old powers, some sort of, not these power, not strength. So, you know, do lots of things. You are strong to do things, but just allow your own power to come back, to really see what is my own power, and then to let soul and heart animate me. I don't know how to say, but maybe as Tanya said it, it's not that I have to do something, that really trust that soul and heart is opening me up. And I think I have to learn this even deeper, or that would be my journey, to call in my true power and to let me animate through soul and much bigger heart. Ahe.
Ahe. Powerful. Thank you for that. And I want to share what Alexandra wrote on the chat, the truth. But well, as you were speaking, Michaela, she wrote, the truth behind the truth behind the truth behind the truth. Then yes. Keep going.
No, that's yes. Thank you.
Yeah, for all of us. Yeah.
I would like to add something to that thought. What do I stand for? What's important for me is to realize that nobody is responsible for me, and I cannot blame anyone for anything. Everything is my own responsibility. What I say, what I think, how I deal with things. If there's something that's upsetting me, I tend to ask myself, why did this come to me, and what's going on in myself? How do I have to deal with it, and not whether it's something wrong. So I believe that everything's happening for a reason, and I try to find out what it triggers inside of me. So that's taking your own responsibility for everything, not blaming anyone.
Yes. Hey. That's it. Taking our own responsibility. That's huge, isn't it? I mean, that is a massive thing. To walk with that consciousness is massive. To begin to embody that, it's a law. It's a universal law, actually. When we begin to see ourselves as the virtuous being, multisensory being of light, and as we begin to step into those realities, we are so fed with light and with consciousness and integrity and purpose and meaning that it begins to flow. And it's not an issue like, oh, I have to take responsibility of this now. I have so much responsibility on my shoulders. That's an old paradigm, right? That's leading towards victim consciousness. We get this incredible opportunity to own our own responsibility. And that means our power, our thoughts, the way we move, how we reflect our life. Whoa, that's power right there.
Thank you for sharing your truth, your deep experiences. I can recognize a lot of parts I'm also going through that you mentioned. And for me, it's just now the Great Awakening, like a big cleansing process, like letting it really flow, letting the tears flow, letting everything flow, and also letting it go. So by seeing the layers or the layers that drop, that fall, it sometimes hurts, and it's deep to really look through it. As Alexandra wrote it, the truth behind the truth behind the truth. It's really like the layers are cleansing, they are opening, and we see and experience the light and also the darkness. And the question is, well, what do I stand for? Which way do I go? To which things do I say, no, I won't do this anymore? A clear no, a sharp no. And for other things, where do I really put my power in and say yes? That's the way I go with that. This brings blessings, and this brings really a healed self and a healed world. So that's really the question also when the cleansing process is going on, not only in this life, also in past lives, when we see it, which way we followed, then it's really like now we have the blessing, we have the gifts to see it and to feel it. So it's also the way more and more here to our heart. Oh, hey.
Oh, hey. Wow. Let's take a few moments to feel then, shall we? I highly suggest feeling pauses throughout our day, is to catch up with ourselves and get present with ourselves and what we've been experiencing. And for my dear ones out there watching in on FB, YouTube, how does that speak to you? What parts light up your being, inform you? What do you resonate with? So we, my dear ones, have just about 15 minutes. And my attention was brought to the leaf that fell in my hand. As I put in my hand, I just fell right in there. And as a woman that walks with a medicine, a seer, a shaman that travels through worlds and timelines, There's no mistake in that. That's a communication. That's a direct communication that brings my consciousness to the tree people of our planet, our relatives, who we share a symbiotic biological connection with, right? And then it brings my attention to the words of Marianne. What if we don't feel that we find truth out there? Now, I could bring this into a container and bring up one of our wonderful relatives, a group of relatives called the Mayan prophecy, saying that this is the time of ethics, that we truly learn, as we've all been discussing, what we stand up for. And we will see the greatest lack of ethical behavior, moral behavior in our human history. That was the prophecy. And that time is speeding up, but even more so, creation is speeding up itself. And I most certainly have felt that. I mean, have you seen how synchronicities get more and more prevalent in your world? Right? You think something, you feel it, next thing you know, it's right there. And we're not talking about the algorithms on social media. We're talking about real life, okay? I'm sorry, I just had to throw that out there. We're talking about that sacred, blessed, infinite moment, right? So how can we speak to our brothers and sisters out there who share, who experience something similar to us, or who don't? We're all one earth, one people. What if we're not seeing and feeling truth out there? Because isn't this exactly what will bring our inner truth in a deeper, more solidified, more radiant and centered place? I think we experience micro experiences of this every single day in our world. If something's not clear there, we get clear here. We have to. Or we might stumble, trip, until we get there. Can we speak to that for a few moments? What if we're not seeing deep enough, embodied enough truth out there and a lot of distraction? How would the Great Awakening speak to that, if it is so?
For me, it's like a focus in a way. You know, when it's not happening out there, this is what you said, I'm thrown back to myself. And I have to, what Tanya said also, I have to feel how I feel about it. How do I feel about this situation? How do I feel about that news? How do I feel about the information I get or whatever? It's like I'm really thrown back to myself and I have to feel about stuff. I've no comfort anymore in relaxing and letting the outer world feel for me, think for me, or do for me. It's all about me. This is what I meant. It's about my responsibility. It's about me. I have to act in it and I have to feel in it. It's like a focus in a way. Hurting sometimes, but needed. Yeah.
Hey, the focus.
Yeah, and for me, it's we have to make decisions, clear decisions for myself and for my direct field around, and then for the outer field. But first, I have to make my decision if it's good for me, and if is it in the same essence of my energy field, and if not, then it's not true. It's not my truth. So I have to make decisions about it.
Decisions, focus and decisions.
And that decisions wants to made by the heart or by the body, not by the mind. So is the body going, is it opening or is it closing? And if it is closing, don't do it. So, but then it's that we have to feel. We really need to feel because our body is responding. And if it is not responding, I have to wait.
Yeah, I think what I feel very strongly right now is that we are bathing almost in a sea of ideologies. And these ideologies, they pose claims to us, how we should behave, what we should be thinking, how we should be acting. And this is quite strong because if you have made a decision to not go along, then you find yourself absolutely visible for everyone. And you just have to take that step. And as Tanya said, the decision to, well, stand by your choices, stand by your values, and stand by your convictions. And there is nobody else going to confirm your choice. Quite the opposite. There's going to be lots of people who are going to hate you for your choices. So that's a huge training. I just think it's such a huge training. I can't remember a time in my life where I've been more challenged into making decisions and defining how much compromise am I going to allow in my life? Where will I stand my ground, and where will I stand my ground openly and sometimes a bit more covertly, because it's not necessary to slap everyone in the face, but it's also not necessary to leave my piece of ground that I'm standing on. So I think that for me is really this truth business and this whole, yeah, it's really amazing actually, and it's incredibly exhausting. And if it were not for having a few people around me who would be willing and lovingly witnessing my choices and accepting those choices, and like maybe even, I'm almost tempted to say, celebrating that there is independence in choice, I think I don't know if I could be doing this. I don't think I could be doing this actually. So there's a real call for community in this as well, for support and freedom in this. Like, really, what is freedom? And I find on every side of all the conflicts that we're seeing right now in the society's gaps and ruptures, you find people on either sides who have a very narrow idea of what freedom looks like. So that's interesting. It's really not as simple as black and white and good and bad. So much more really looking back to your own patternings and where do I not allow space, where I'm not willing to allow another version, and so on and so on. Yeah.
Yes. Wow. Deep, wise words, sister. Thank you so much for sharing, and thank you so much for sharing part of your personal journey. Right? Because that's what fuels us, is our purpose. Right?
Marion, also, I resonated a lot with what you just said. And I also feel that when people around me feel things so differently, it's sometimes so draining and so exhausting to stay true to myself. But then we must remember that we are the one person that we have to deal with for the rest of our lives. So if we don't stay true to ourselves, like, most definitely you will stay with yourself for the rest of your life. I hope so. So we better,
I love it.
listen to what we want, and not like a leaf in the wind always, well, if that's what we want, then that's that. But I feel like remembering that we have to we have to be with ourselves here on this planet. So wow, you really have to listen up and to take the time and have the courage to be who we have to be and walk the path that we have to walk.
She's like, she's like, she gave herself her own exhale. I love it.
Feeling breaks, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, Alexandra.
I'd like to add, I heard somebody talking about nature, and I've been really more and more taking my cues from nature as I'm in my own great awakening. And when I'm challenged with what you were mentioning, Mira Michelle, and the prophecy of these unethical times, and I'm challenged with looking at my own life and the choices I'm making, and yeah, how many compromises were making up my existence. And when I don't know how to change it, or I feel stuck in something, or I can see that I can't just snap my fingers and everything's gonna be different, and it's gonna take some time for me to unwind myself from a situation that I'm in. The greatest healer for me to remember that this is awakening and to power that and to nourish it is nature. Like, I've been asking myself questions. How would a tree do this? I've been asking myself questions. Sorry, I don't want to show somebody else's child on the screen, but I've been asking myself questions. How would a tree do this? Or if I'm really stuck, it's like, I know I'm figuring out who I am. I'm working with my spirit and ancestors. I'm going to go to the water until whatever this attachment is doesn't feel so hard. I'm going to wash this away. So that also has been part of my awakening, is remembering myself in nature and being healed through that as well.
That's it, sister. Thank you so much for those powerful words. That is, that's what something I want to piggytail on that. There's something that the grandmother spoke through on the first pre-recorded part 1, the intro weave. And I want to shout it out for us to all hear again. At the 3 main healers that we are working with is human beings, Homo sapiens sapiens, or so-called, our consciousness. The medicine is consciousness itself, to realize that we transport consciousness, we give and receive consciousness, and consciousness is the ultimate healer. Every single healer I've met, the best ones, the most radiant ones, and the ones that are most centered, they realize that consciousness is the healer and not them. Right? So consciousness, and then nature. Nature is number 2. Nature is so important for us. These are our relatives, right? We are nature. So merging ourselves with the frequency of nature and feeling that frequency enlighten our bodies, our cells, our remembering in each direction. Yeah, that is so empowering and awe-inspiring for us. And the more we get to that, the more actually we will heal nature herself, and the more we will make decisions and discernments for this great power that we are part of and that we are. And number 3 is us. Us, we simple, crazy making, love making humans. We are each other's medicine, right? We're giving each other medicine right now. We're going to be giving each other medicine to our dear ones watching, and spread this medicine, spread this love, right? Share it. This is so important at these times. We need massive, massive awakening on the planet right now. And it is happening. And let's keep going further and further and further. So on Friday, part 2 will be aired. And part 2 was like the drop the mic. I love this because I'm going to just get in my element and start rambling in a cool way. Not a little. That might be a little bit funny, but it won't last for long. In a way about our collective. I'm going to go for the first 12 minutes through how I perceive history from the Paleolithic right up until now. It's going to be like bam, 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 and open that field to what is our collective humanity doing? What have we been learning? What have we not been learning? What do we want as a collective of consciousness bringing entities, multisensual beings, transdimensional beings, dimension shifting, jumping beings, which we forgot that we can do that, and we do that all the time. Check out your dreams. So yes, on Friday, part 2, the collective, and then 2 days later we will have another one of these, and that will get a little bit hot, that'll, and funny and all the things. However, we need it. It's good medicine to have a backward forward look. And that's where we're going to go. So check that out on Friday. It will be aired. So if I ask all of you women, please give us one last word, what you leave, maybe what you're gifting to the world and your wisdom, or what you're leaving with. It's your choice. Thank you.
I can say I'm gifting consistency. Consistency with, consistency.
I remember us to get grounded, to be grounded before we talk. Wait.
Hey. Thank you, Alexandra. Thank you, Sophie.
I gifted allowing to feel your inner truth.
And I would love to gift us with the joy that's still in it, and to have fun while we do all of that. Yeah.
And I will go with trust, with deep, deep trust in your in your innermost inner self.
I go with lightness in all, just not to take it too heavy. Lightness.
I would love to bring in some peace of mind, peace of heart, peace of soul, the knowing that all is in divine order.
Janina.
I go with the golden light in the heart. Also, when there are layers of density, it's really in the heart. It's still surviving and it's expanding. Aye.
And I would like to say, trust in your creativity, whatever that means for you.
I put in that we remember to be grateful.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. That's just like the perfect medicine to wrap us up. This gratitude medicine. Yeah, yes. So reflecting Katya's wise words, thank you for showing up. Thank you for your consciousness. Thank you for your self-responsibility. Thank you for your wonder and your curiosity. Thank you for feeling into your stomachs for truth and your hearts and blessing each other, blessing this world. This is not cliche. This is real life. When we can embody those tools and use them in daily life, then we are becoming the people we always wanted to be. 99 point something % of the humans on this planet are good people in many different circumstances and situations, but are good people. right? And may the good rise. Blessed be. Uyane. That was the grandmother's saying it too. Blessed be.